So we're going to look at how to complete the Bridge Designer Lab using the Bridge Designer software that we downloaded in class last time. So the first bridge that you're going to try to build is a truss bridge. So when your software opens up, or if it's open already, we're going to have a new design that we want to create. Each of the setup screens have a little number up in the corner, and you can see that I have some of the setup screens cut and pasted for you into the lab to help you pick which parameters you need. So we're going to build the truss for our first bridge, and for 1 you just take the defaults, 2 you take the defaults, for 3 we have the first setups on the screen. We want to start with a 24-meter deck elevation, the standard abutments, no pier, and no cables. And that, we're going to say next. We're going to take the defaults on 4. And then on 5, we're going to pick a through truss Pratt. And you can see in the elevation view, there's going to be a template of what that should look like. We'll say next. And then you can type your name in. This will actually come up on the blueprints for your bridge. So type your name in. And then we will go ahead and say next. And then it gives you a small description of what to do. So we're going to click the Finish button on this screen, draw the joints, draw the members, and run the load test, and then strengthen any members that fail, and then optimize the design by minimizing its cost. So optimize means to make it as good as it can be for those current conditions. So we're going to click Finish and launch our first design. Now I'm going to cover this lab up briefly, but what I want to point out to you is the first time we get a successful bridge, I'm going to type the cost into my lab right here, and then as I optimize or bring down the cost, I'm going to log what I had to do to get the cost to decrease. So I'm going to expand the bridge screen, and note at the top there are different features. So your tools bar should appear automatically, but if it doesn't, we can bring this down a little bit. If it doesn't automatically appear, there's a view window. So the view will allow you to turn on the tools as well as several different grids and things that can help you. Okay, I'll expand that again. So in the tools, I've got the crossbeam tool or the joint tool, I've got the member tool, a selection tool, and then an eraser tool. So I'm going to start by placing the truss joints at the top where they need to be. So I'm going to hover the circles on the template and click to drop each of those connection points. Okay, then I'm going to add the crossbars, and in this case I'm actually just going to follow the template that they've provided for me. It will make it a little bit easier the first time through. But when you're optimizing, you can change everything about the bridge to get the costs down. You can change the locations of the members. You can change the weights. We'll show you a couple of those things in a second. So I'm just taking my crossbeam tool and drawing them in place. Each of the sections of the bridge need to be a triangle shape, or the software will tell you that it's unstable when you try to run it. Okay, so I think that I have got all of the beams and crossbars in place, and I'm going to go ahead and load test it. So up on the top, I'm going to bring this down a little bit so you can see it again. In the test menu, there is a toggle button to show animation. You can toggle it on and you can toggle it off. We want to have it toggled on. I'm going to expand this, and then I'm going to run the load test. This blue bar here will run the load test. And you can see that my bridge fails before the truck even arrives. So what I'm going to want to do is go back up to my test window and go back to the drawing board, get another start on this. When I go back to the drawing board, you can see the red hash marks and the blue hash marks where I've either had too much compression or too much tension. and I can work through each beam member there. Okay, so for instance, this beam, it's got too much compression. So I think I want to make it a little bit stronger. I can either increase the size here or in one of these up and down arrow pieces. I can change the type of bar it is, either a solid bar or a hollow tube. And I can also change the materials of construction. And as I change them, you'll notice that the parameters are here, and then the cost actually changes up top for your bridge right here. So as I increase the size of that beam member, you can see that the cost goes up accordingly with each click. Okay, so now that that is a little bit stronger, I'm going to go ahead and pick this one, make it bigger, pick this one, make it bigger. And I'm going to move my way across the beam, just trying to make them a little bit stronger as we go. And I'm going to run my animation again. Oh, so I still have a failure in the middle. So I'm going to go back to the drawing board. You do that by on the test menu. Click drawing board. And then I can see that I have a fewer number of members that have weakened and collapsed. So I'm just going to go through this a piece at a time, working and working until I have got a bridge that is functioning. So that is how you get started with your bridge designer. Now I'm going to imagine that this is a functional bridge. So I'm going to take this price, $350, $755, and I'm going to go ahead and enter that into my bridge designer lab, $350, $755. So that would be the cost of the first bridge that you have as successful. All right, enjoy working on your bridges. At the end of the class today, those that tune in on Schoology, let me know what the costs are for your bridges so far.